with respect to the home damage of $276 that you're asking us for.
That's the time he wanted to pull his car into the driveway and threaten to ram my car if I didn't move my car. I moved my car, I got out, I went to my room, I closed the door. He came and he kicked my door open and busted the door frame and said, "You better not close that door."
Did you do that?
No.
What happened?
The door, I don't know.
You don't know what, you have no idea what happened to the door?
No, I remember him putting a lock on the door because something was up with the door, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Wow.
Okay, what do you think it was that prompted him to start just lying about you in March?
Maybe it's because he was expecting me to, or for us to like mess around or something, and that was not gonna happen.
You said that in your papers. You think at some point he was expecting a romantic or sexual relationship with you?
Something like that, but it was not gonna happen. So I was actually surprised he let me, stay there in the beginning, because it was brought to my attention that he wasn't really fond of me for that reason.
For what reason? Being
a dud.
Not being interested in him.
Correct.
All right, I'm gonna give you a chance to respond. I'm not sure it needs a response, but if you want to.
There's nothing I want to respond to that. Okay. There was never any expectation of anything physical from him. I was trying to help him out in his time of need, and I felt at one point that he's done this before, because he said, "I'm going to teach you a lesson. You can't do this to people. You're going to have to get me out legally." And
which is
just
true.
The way he was going about it made me think maybe I'm not the first person he's done this to.
Wait, so you admit that you did say that to him?
No, I didn't. Mind you, he's trying so hard to get me out to pay some rent, and yet the person and people that he has staying there still have paid him nothing.
Mr. Huckabone, in one of the texts, you are saying, "I said to you and Sam," the other roommate, "that you would need to start paying rent, but it would start small at about $100 a month and go up from there." When was the $100 a month supposed to start?
January was going to be a pay what you can. February would have been $100, March $200, and April $300.
I just have another question. In text messages, he says, "I've given you $1,200 in total since I moved in," and you replied, "Nothing is overlooked. I do appreciate everything you've done, and let me officially say thank you." What $1,200?
I'm not sure what the $1,200 is.
If it's not true, wouldn't you say, "What are you talking about? I don't have $1,200.
Well, I was assuming he was just putting everything, like the cost of the vacuum cleaner, the cost of, like,
Is that what you meant? I know it wasn't $1,200 cash.
When I was working, I was getting money, so I did give him cash, but I mean, I don't have any receipts for that.
One last question. I still find it hard to believe that the reference to illegal activities meant, like, driving quickly.
The woman that lives across the street from me is a member of the HOA board of directors. She came out one day, he was sitting on her grass, and he harassed her, and she felt uncomfortable and went into her house.
Oh. They didn't talk to you about anything that's, like, really actually illegal activity?
No.
Okay.
Okay, are we good?
Yes.
All right, we'll excuse the parties while we deliberate in this matter. Thank you both very much.
Okay, Mr. Huckabone, Mr. Preciado, we have deliberated and reached a unanimous verdict. Mr. Huckabone, hopefully you have now learned that an informal arrangement for folks to stay at your place creates a tenant relationship that imposes on you a lot of legal burdens in the state of California that can be hard to undo. So we would encourage you to be more careful going forward, get things in writing, because if you ever end up in a situation like this again, which you hopefully won't, you will, at a minimum, have an easier time proving your case. So we looked at each one of the individual requests, and the one that we had trouble with was rent. We couldn't sort out what the agreement for rent was. We saw payments from Mr. Preciado that didn't really correspond to anything, that could have been a pay what you will for rent. So because there was no clear agreement and no evidence for us, we don't believe you met your burden of proof on rent.
Okay.
With respect to the other items, we think you did. We believe that the impound fee was not a gift. We also believe you're entitled to the HOA fines in the amount of $600, because that's what we calculated was the total in HOA fines. And we believe your testimony about the door. We believe that the door was broken by Mr. Preciado. The $50 or so in merchandise, we don't believe you proved, but everything else we believe you've proved. So if you add up the amounts that we found you met your burden of proof on, they come out to $1,576. So the verdict is in favor of the plaintiff for $1,576, and we wish you both the best, hopefully staying apart from now on.